name is Dave Mastrangelo, principal second violinist of the Naples Philharmonic, and I wanted to talk to you guys about double stops. Okay, when I practice in the morning, I start with scales and arpeggios, and I do all my double stops: thirds, sixths, octaves, fingered octaves, and tenths. I'm going to sort of walk you through that. But the first thing we have to understand about intonation is we have to be able to play double stops. You have to be able to play evenly on two strings. Because if you can't play the two strings evenly, you can't play, the double stop will sound out of tune. All right? So when we tune our open strings, we're listening to them to ring openly, okay? Because anytime you play two notes together, the numeric difference in vibrations between those two notes is produced lower. So when we tune our open strings, we're looking for open, non-beat, non-beat vibrations. When we do thirds, which is the first double stop we'll talk about, if it's in tune, you can hear my open G is vibrating, okay? The numeric difference between the thirds sounds the root of the chord, the lower note, an octave or two octaves below, right? So they have to be in tune. So I'm going to take you through G major, right? And because of the way the thirds work, because we can't play thirds on an open G because you don't have the right strings, you start your thirds in G like this. And then you start the thirds. When you're playing thirds, it's the lower note that's the scale, right? You're going to play a scale in third. The lower note is the actual scale. I do these, like I said, Elizabeth Gilels takes these pretty high. I start these just doing two notes per bow, and what we're doing is as we're playing up, I always play a 3-1-2-4, 3-1-2-4 pattern and shift it. I don't use the two opens and the threes, and I don't use those slides in the scale because we're just practicing fundamentals. And what this does is it builds four-note patterns in the left hand, reinforces that whole hand frame that I was talking about in the first video. See, all this builds on each other, right? If you do these in order, it all makes sense, and you build your technique. So thirds are going to go like this. That's the top of the scale. And Gilels takes you two more notes. So these are Leonid Kogan's, how he played scales. It was his wife Elizabeth Gilels that published the scale book. He was asked in the way they play why he practices his double stops so high, because the thirds usually aren't written that high. And he said, well, because if I can play them that high, what can't I play? You see, over-prepare yourself for the rep and you're going to be good. Thirds, make sure that the two notes are in tune. You have to play the two strings evenly. And you always want to, like I said, take your time to make sure that those two notes really ring in tune. If they're ringing, you're in good shape. Use the bottom note to gauge the tonality. That's where the scale is. Now, when you go to sixths, it's not the bottom note, but the top note that's the scale, right? So I start these, and the challenge with sixths is that you're going to have to take a finger, same finger on the next string back, you have to get good at shifting the finger from string to string, right? 1, 2, 2, 3, or open 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4 if you use that finger. And you have to know where the finger goes on the string as it crosses over, right? So it's very hard when you're doing sixths to make them really smooth because the finger is hopping the string. And always hop the finger, don't roll it. Very hard to tune. Hop it. You'll be in tune, all right? Guaranteed. Then you finish this. At the top, I go to 2-3 again, and then 3-4. And bring it down. At this point, you can just use the 4-3-3-2-2-1, or 2-3 in third position, 1-2, 2-3, 1-2, 2-3, 1-2, and 2-3. So the biggest thing with the third is the sixth is to know whether it's a whole or half step between the two fingers and where the finger goes as it crosses over. I'll do that for you one more time, slowly, 2 notes third, so you can see exactly how this looks. Me at the very top of that, roll them very slightly. You can do that. If you do a very slight and very quick roll, the ear almost cannot pick up that you're doing it, and it helps you sort of set those notes when it gets awkward and up high. Okay? Octaves are the most important interval that we do because octaves essentially outline each position, right? First position, second position, third position, and as you go up like that. So octaves. The other thing about octaves is always remember to bring the lower note out. In balance, these double stops will sound in tune just like in balance chords sound in tune. Out of balance chords and out of balance double stops do not sound in tune. So octaves go like this. Those in tune like that, you're really setting yourself in good position, right, to be able to play in tune up and down as you're playing the repertoire. Always be settled in a position, and octaves are the most important interval for that because you set the hand frame every octave going up, right? So octaves, very important. Cannot underemphasize how important octaves are. For most of you, third, sixth, and octaves can be the end of your double stop journey. But from some of you, not so much. We want to do fingered octaves. There's a few pieces in the repertoire that demand that you have octaves exchanged in such a fast rate that the normal 1-4 octaves aren't quick enough. And so now we do fingered octaves. Fingered octaves are fingered reverse of the thirds. Instead of 3-1, 4-2, it's 1-3-2-4, and these you do slowly, same idea. Again, those create big stretches in the left hand that you've got to get used to, right? You may want to do these very slowly, note by note. Make sure you loosen the hand up in between repetitions of doing that. It's important, like I said, though, this gives you options. Being able to do tenths and being able to do fingered octaves gives you options in playing to do more complicated stuff and to get around a little easier and, again, more reliably. For fingered octaves, again, you could also break all these up. It's sort of an introduction. The last intervals, of course, we do are tenths. Tenths are like thirds, except with an added octave. So tenths work like this. Notice with the thumb, the thumb actually goes a little bit ahead of the first finger because the interval is so large. Now, if you want some additional practicing with these double stops, you've got your thirds, then you can go to Paganini's 18th caprice, reinforces thirds. Sixths, I think it's the 22nd caprice, does the sixths. Regular octaves, you could do the 24th caprice, the variation. You could do the 15th caprice is great because he does octaves, then he does arpeggios in the octaves up an octave higher. Fingered octaves is the 17th caprice. Tenths, you do the 4th caprice, again, the 24th caprice. So when you do the double stops, it always helps for you to then do a piece of the rep that sort of reinforces them, all right? That's double stops. Good luck. Have fun with that.